You guys...
This
I was just wondering if you guys were going to sing the theme song.
Yeah, okay. Pineapple, 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 pineapple. Hello, welcome to the Pineapple Podcast. I'm Tyler. This is Josh.
Hey, I'm Josh.
In the back, we've got... I said you were Josh.
I know.
In the back, we've got Dave.
Oh, you're so mean to Josh.
Just kidding.
Right off the bat, this is just setting the tone for the episode. Hostility in the air.
Hello, welcome to Pineapple Podcast. My name's Tyler. This is my friend here, Josh. You still say hello. Hello, welcome to the Pineapple Podcast. I'm Tyler.
I'm Josh.
I'm Dave.
And we have a special guest here.
I'm Howie.
Howie Wowie. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
I guess, well, last time we hung out was the jam night here when we were loud.
Yeah, and that was like, I feel like that was like a year ago or something.
Yeah. And then before that, it was like...
Years. Like 10 years since.
Pretty much, yeah.
And like, Josh, I haven't seen you since back then. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time I've actually been here with Howie in person for, I could even probably say 12 years. I'm going to throw it out there. That feels pretty accurate. Time's a bit of a blur these days anyways, but it's been a while, but you've still been playing the bass.
Slapping
And
the
I
bass.
have, yeah.
Long story short, me and Josh played in a band with Howie's brother TJ, and we lived in a band house together, and we got to spend a lot of time hanging out.
Yeah, we did. And well, I got you guys here. I want to apologize to both of you because I feel like I was such a major jackass idiot.
No way.
Because like when you guys were living in that house with my brother, I had like just gotten off of like my first pro band, and like we were doing pretty good, but like I thought I was hot shit, and you guys were like trying to tour and do all this stuff, and I was thought, oh, here's Howie. I'm gonna hold court and tell you guys how to do it, not even knowing that you guys are like hanging out with like textbook tragedy at the same time, and you know,
it's I never noticed that. I didn't feel that way.
Apology accepted.
Accepted.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, that's funny.
No,
Yeah.
but it was a good times back then. Like it was a lot to learn from each other at the time because you were doing totally different stuff than what we were doing, and we always thought that was super cool.
Yeah. Actually, I was pretty envious of like what you guys were doing because you guys had the whole band thing going on, and you guys were playing like cool music, you know, like that melodic metal thing going on, and I felt like I was kind of like selling out a little bit because at the time I was playing in like a radio pop rock band, and you know, my heart wasn't totally in it. I was more doing it for, you know,
Because it worked?
yeah, so I could be on a tour bus and be out on tour, right? And make, you know, just enough money to maybe buy like a Subway sandwich every day.
Yeah. It's a tough challenge, like making the choice between like, you know, say if the people in the band aren't working or pulling their weight, like moving on. And for us, we kind of just made a team, and then we just stuck with them no matter what, right? So whereas you probably were a bit more
Like a hired gun kind of thing.
I was totally a hired gun. Yeah, so like, well, actually, I guess maybe that'd be a good place to start. When I was, I think 20, I answered an ad on Craigslist to be the lead guitar player in a band that was, you know, supposedly had songs on the radio and whatnot. And then I was living in Victoria at the time, practiced some songs, filmed them on, filmed them on a phone, send them off. And then, or I guess we wouldn't have had phones that do video back then. I don't know. But,
email.
Yeah, emailed some stuff off, got an audition, and then went to this audition at, was it Little Mountain Sound?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What's it
it's-
called now? The Rock Space.
I actually don't know what it's called now.
I also am not
But I
aware
remember
of
Little
its
Mountain.
current name. Yep.
Well, yeah, Little Mountain Sound, where Metallica did parts of the Black Album, and I think Motley Crue did some stuff there. But anyways, yeah, they turned it into a jam spot, and it was like a I don't know if you guys have ever heard the term cattle call.
No.
where like it's an open audition and they have like just like lines and lines of players, and that's what it was. It was like I'm sitting there and like with a bunch of other guys with their guitars, and everyone's thinking, oh, I hope I get this gig. I hope I get this gig, right?
Off this Craigslist ad.
Off a Craigslist ad. And I went in there, and there's like, management and the band, and I think there was a stylist there and like a publicist, and, everyone's all checking everything out. Played a couple songs, casually mentioned that I'm not a guitar player, I'm a bass player. And then I ended up getting the gig because the bass player was actually a guitar player.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so that was pretty cool because then I spent the next 2 years basically on a tour bus traveling around North America. And we had a couple songs on the radio, music videos on Much Music, MTV. We had some stuff in like video games. I think we were in one of the NHL games and maybe one of the GTA games.
What was the name again? Did you already say it?
I did not.
What is it?
The name was Britt Black, which...
I remember Britt Black.
Yeah, she
I do
was
as well.
the former guitar player for Biff Naked and had a band called Live on Release.
Okay.
Yeah, and Britt and I are still cool to this day. I saw her, I think, at the very last concert I went to, which was the Black Halos, who were hanging out and catching up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago when Britt Black was... what's she under now? Is she still playing?
No. She got out of the industry, but she played. She continued on her own thing, and then she joined some other band that's actually kind of had some success, but I forgot their name for some reason. Lilac, something like that.
Huh.
Doesn't matter. Maybe cut that part out.
This is the different voice cuts in with the band name, Lily Black.
Lily Black, yeah. Tiger Lily.
Just keep throwing out the names until we get it. We'll get there eventually.
I thought she played with Todd Kearns or something for a bit too.
No, but Todd Kearns was actually on the same label, and I think he played on Britt's album.
Maybe
so
that's why.
so that's how I got to meet Todd, which was
Super
pretty
cool.
Super cool, and he's such a rad dude.
Yeah, he seems awesome.
Yeah, he's a super genuine, awesome dude. And I remember like the first time meeting him, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Howie," and he's like, "Yeah, I know who you are," and I was like, "Yes, yes."
Job well done.
Yeah.
Do you ever find that remote control?
Just splice in
he's
the
awesome.
song
He's awesome.
for everyone who wasn't born when we were, to understand that reference to
Yeah.
Age of Electric.
Yeah, that's totally.
Remote controls were used for TV
Yeah.
sets.
What the other song, "Ugly"? That was a sick song too.
I don't think I remember that one.
I'll cut it if that's not true.
It's a very cut-heavy intro right
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're in the rising action.
now. Just snip. Just cuts everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first band.
Yeah, that was my first pro band, and like
Pro
that's
band.
when I met you guys, and I thought it was hot shit.
They're too good for us.
Well, not too. I didn't think I was too good for you guys. It's just like I thought I was,
You just knew.
I thought I was a superstar, basically.
You ready to show us the way.
Yeah, I wanted to, spread the gospel, but I really didn't know anything. I was
Yeah.
a fucking idiot.
Well, I remember you pulling me aside and saying, "You really got to ditch this Josh guy."
Which camera do I look into to look sad? Yeah, this one.
I mean, Tyler, he plays the bagpipes. Come on,
Yeah.
man. Are you Corn? Are you
Yeah,
Corn?
what are you, Corn? So after Britt Black, what was the next step?
After Britt Black, well, basically what happened was one day I just got a phone call. Hey, we're dropped from the label, but you better get a job. I was like, oh, okay. It was quick. It was like, bam. I ended up moving in with my girlfriend, and I started, I don't know, just bumming around looking for a band. I started playing with a band called Duval Star, which was like a power pop band. And then Scotty Sachs, who was the drummer for Biff Naked at the time, called me up and said, "Hey, I need a bass player for a 2-month tour across Canada. Do you want to do it?" And so I jumped on that, and it was with the original singer from Nickelback.
Oh, what?
So before Nickelback was Nickelback, they were called Village Idiot. And Chad was the drummer.
No way.
Yeah. And this guy, Scott Holman, was the singer. And somewhere along the line, Scott left the band. Chad became the singer. I don't know if they got what's his nuts on drums then, the super good guy. What's his name?
Danny.
Yeah, because he's like
Daniel Adair.
Yeah, and
Daniel Adair.
he's like a prog guy, right? Like he's super good outside of Nickelback.
He used to work at Langley Long McQuaid back in the day.
But yeah, so he had a band called Auto Switch. So it was him singing. The guitar player was this guy named Ramsey, who was like a highly specialized microbiologist that only knew stuff that like 4 people in the world knew. And he was our guitar player.
Okay.
Yeah, and then me on bass and Scotty Sachs on drums. And our sound guy was the old sound guy from Strapping Young Lad and Fear Factory.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so then we went on a 2-month tour across Canada where the manager had said that we are basically, ex-members and Nickelback or whatever. So every show they charged like a massive amount for tickets. And of course, because no one had ever heard of us, no one showed up to a single one. We played 2 months across Canada, every small, tiny little toilet, every small, tiny little hole. And we played to bartenders and wait staff. Oh, and one time, actually, there was one table full of people who came in. There were these girls, and I think they were underage because they got kicked out before we could play.
Oh, shoot.
But the thing is, like, we were under contract, and we had to play our entire, like, hour and a half long set every single night, or we wouldn't get paid.
No matter what.
So, like, we play these shows, and everyone was hating us and, like, wanting us to get out of there. And we're like, no, we have to do this.
We're under contract to play the whole set.
Otherwise, you're obviously not going to pay us.
Did you come up for like fake encores, like baked into the set? Like, and then we got to go off and come back on 5 minutes later.
I think we actually did that at the beginning. And then later on, we were just like, screw it. Let's just burn through this.
Go straight to the encore.
And like sometimes the singer and I, we would be like, okay, well, what kind of shit are we going to do tonight? Because like we got to do something to entertain ourselves. Are we going to like battle royale on stage while playing the songs? Are we going to like cop our favorite rock stars' moves? Yeah. And it's like, it was rough, man, but it was fun. And that was the tour where I think I told you guys this about our manager. We played a show in St. Catharines, Ontario, and our manager flew out, and he got so drunk that he got kicked out of the venue before we finished sound check.
So at like 3 p.m.
Yeah, if that.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was brutal. And so we fired him, and as revenge, he decided to take a shit on our trailer.
Yeah. As you do.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
And who hasn't?
Exactly, right? Who hasn't had a revenge poo on a trailer?
Right. That's just relieving.
Yeah. But the real kicker was afterwards, we had already made arrangements to stay at his parents' house.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to go stay with his mom and dad after kicking him out for pooping on getting drunk, getting kicked out of the venue, and then pooping on our trailer.
That's pretty funny.
And that was in Ontario.
That was in Ontario. There's a reason why it's called Onterrible.
Oh. Ontario.
So, like, where else, like, your first impression of these cities, was this, like, the first time you've been to a bunch of these provinces even? And you were playing these shows to empty bars? And
No, because with Brit Black, we toured a lot. For 2 years, I lived on a tour bus, basically, and it was awesome. And so I had been to a lot of places, maybe not so much like the super small towns.
Yep.
But definitely the bigger places I had hit there before. But it was definitely like, coming from Brit Black, I thought it was hot shit. It was kind of like, a wake up call, like, hey, wait a second, you're not that great. And then, you know, it was tough because, like, you know, we had a lot of like heavy hitters in the band, right? Like, you know, the singer was in Nickelback. Scotty Sex was our drummer. It was like, he just did a humongous, you know, stint with Biff Naked. He was like an in-demand session musician. He played with Todd Kearns in Static and Stereo.
Okay.
He did some stuff with Devin Townsend. So, like,
Awesome.
the guy's resume is pretty awesome. And then for him to be like, oh, we're going to do a 2-month tour playing to nobody. It's like, oh, this is a guy who has like Steve Stevens from fucking Billy Idol's phone number in his phone, right? And then it's like, here, we're doing this.
Yeah, that's not a good feeling. We definitely played to
nobody.
nobody.
Yep, we've been there.
Yeah, I think everyone has. And you know what? It's good for you.
Yes.
It builds character. And
It's the best dress rehearsal you could ever have if you can still sound great after getting over the mental trauma of being like, well, there's technically some audience, but they're also being paid to be here because they're the staff.
Yeah.
And if you win over the staff, sometimes that was kind of, you know, a victory in itself. When like, you guys actually sounded pretty good. And we're like, thanks. We tried. We practiced a lot to be here.
The best is when the headliner wants you to play after them when they're like, when you actually do have a good draw and they're like, hey, do you guys mind letting us start first? It's like, oh, I remember back when we just got out of high school playing at the Ocean Beach. I think it was State of Shock. They were asking us, they're like, yeah, do you mind letting us go first? And we're like, no, half these people, it's their school night. They snuck in.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew it, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is like for the club level show, the middle slot is ultimately the best slot.
Yeah.
You know, people got to leave early. They got to go to school. They got to go to work. You know?
You're lucky you got them out there.
Yeah.
Maybe now, with COVID, it'll actually, like, because, like, once it levels out, people are going to miss, you know, having, like, actually going to shows. So maybe they'll actually show up, you know?
Oh, I hope so. And I do believe so. Like, if you look at history, I know this has been said a lot, but, like, after the Spanish flu, we had the Roaring 20s. And I know people are losing it, dying to get out there. I know I am. I want to go and be in a mosh pit, get beat up, you know, like drink overpriced beer. Like and I know I'm not the only one. And I get all excited when I see down south there's all these like festivals being announced and stuff. It's like, oh, I want to go.
Yeah, because that's got to hurt.
I feel like people are going to show up earlier and leave later for at least for a while anyways.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been hard for you because I know you were saying like one of the next steps you kind of dreams are coming true to are in Europe and doing that kind of stuff, right? And then all of a sudden after that, your whole, like you had a whole year planned and then boom, crashes, right?
Well, actually, I'd been playing in Europe for a while. So I've been playing in a band called Nim Vind for about 10 years, and our entire audience is in Europe.
Oh, wow.
So we go there all the time, and it's awesome. But, like, you know, a little while ago, we played a festival in Leipzig, Germany. And we played with the Creep Show, and there was like 600 people there. We played Vancouver with the Creep Show. Same show. There was like less than 30. So it's like, okay, well, we know where our audience is.
Yeah. It's
not over here. But in 2019, I got hired to play for Michael Graves, who was the second singer for the Misfits. And I played like 130 shows in 33 countries on 3 continents, and it was insane. You know, it's such a great feeling to like pay your rent and like support your family with playing music.
Doing your craft.
And it was awesome. And then like 2020 was going to be an awesome year. We had planned to like go to Australia, New Zealand, Japan, back to Europe. You know, always lots and lots of stuff in North America. It was going to be great. And then, this came and like screwed everything up. And well, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, it's that would definitely be a tough one to swallow.
But it's also kind of like it's a lesson, you know, and you always got to look for the lessons and see what you can learn from each situation. So, for instance, like going from Brit Black, where I thought I was like this super hot shit guy, like already a rock star or whatever, and realized
you had the rock star hair.
Yeah, I had the rock star hair, the thinning mohawk, and the girl pants and the eyeliner.
Pants.
And then, having that pulled away from me and then realize, oh, wait a second, you're not hot shit. You're not as cool as you think. And then having, this other opportunity taken away from me where it's like, yes, I'm finally just about there where where I've spent my entire life working towards this, and I'm so close now, and having it go away again. It's like it's another lesson in like, to really appreciate what you have and to really, really work hard. And it's like, okay, well, what could I do better? How could I,
What's everyone else going to do? Because you weren't alone in that boat. That's the one thing I think everyone could take from it is no matter where you were, things were different for everybody. It wasn't just isolated like the one rain cloud over just Tyler's head. Like anyone in this industry, we all went through the same thing of like, well, what do I do now? I play live. That's my thing. I do live things for an audience. And it's like the technology's come a really long way. Like I'm super impressed with the remote recording you've been able to pull off. And have you been doing that as well? Now since you can't like jam with a band and go to see a rehearsal or do whatever, like...
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what I've found is since, everyone's at home, I've been connecting with musicians that I normally wouldn't have. So making these connections. And yeah, they're, people are asking me to play on a lot of stuff. So I started off with like a really crappy setup and made it work. I had like a laptop from, I don't know, 2005 with like 1.6 gigs on it. Put Reaper on it, would barely, run Reaper, and like I got a crappy rolling interface, and I did an EP for Nim Vind with that. Started doing a record for another guy with that. Did actually quite a few recordings with that, and then recently I've upgraded to like I got a 2020 MacBook Pro with a Motu M2, running a Avalon U5. And it's awesome. So like I've been doing the new Nim Vind record. I'm doing a record for these guys in Seattle called Evelyn's Casket.
Okay.
Doing tons and tons of collaborations for other people. It's awesome, and it's cool to like shift gears because like I've done like a little bit of session work over the years, but it hasn't been this concentrated. Like it's just relentless now, and it's awesome.
That's awesome. Any hiccups you ran into along the way?
Well, there's definitely been learning curves, right? So, learning how to edit stuff.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one. And one thing that's been like really tough for me is like knowing when something's good enough. So when I am recording, I'm just like so focused on what I'm doing that I'm not really listening to what's going on, if that makes sense. I'm just like, okay.
It's hard to be your own engineer while you're trying to actually play the part because you can't listen while you're playing objectively because you're the one playing it.
Exactly.
And you're going to be overly critical or not critical enough. You just don't know where you stand.
Difficult.
Yeah, that's totally it. So, I'll spend, way too long on a song just trying to like get it perfect. But
sometimes the first take is all it really needs. But if you overdo it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about it too much, right?
Yeah. Thunderstruck. That was his first take through, and then he did a few more, but they ended up using that, and he just played it the whole song.
Who recorded that?
That was who played the guitar?
No, who recorded that?
I think that was Mike Fraser.
Mike Fraser? Oh.
The legend.
At a little place called the Armory.
At the Armory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing when I'm recording at a studio, I notice that I'm usually like a one take person, or at the most I do like 3 takes. Because usually the first one has the energy, and then, the other couple might be to just like clean up a couple places. But at home, I'm doing like 30 takes of a song. And it's like, well, just don't know when to stop.
Yeah, that's the hard part. And the same with like even writing a song, knowing when the song's done. That's hard. It's like it could always be better. It's like making a painting, which I don't do, but
well, actually,
it's just like making a painting.
Whenever I've tried, I've been like, oh, let me try this. Nope, that ruined it.
I was recently watching a podcast with Mike Inez from Alice in Chains. He also played with Ozzy for a while, and he was talking about how it's really important to like set deadlines for your project. So like set like a couple weeks to write, and then set like a couple weeks to record, and you have to be willing to like move on to the next step. And I think that's actually really important, because like you can get really stuck in one spot and just like
totally.
Oh, I'm just gonna keep working on this one part forever until
And then, so much time passes. You start looking at the whole project differently. And the song you did at the end sounds nothing like you did at the beginning. So then you start your loop again. And you're like, well, we got the sound we like at the end. Now let's go back and do these first ones again. And then you get to the end again. And you're just like, well, one more time around, everybody. We figured out a new technique. This is our new sound. Let's just do a couple more overdubs. And we would never be done.
There's a couple guys I studied with, and they were saying they'd work on a song with a band, and they come in with their rough mix, and then they doctor that up a little bit, and then they go, okay, we're gonna start on this, and then they do overdubs and go with it, and then by the time the client's like, no, like, I don't like this at all, let's just go back to the rough mix, and the rough mix is actually what gets released. Because it's like overthink it and take it way too far, and it doesn't need to.
Well, totally. So the last Nim Vind record, Saturday Night Seance Songs, it took 3 years to mix.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah, because
that must have been one hell of a mix.
Well, in the end, it sounds great. 3 of the songs are mixed by Jay Rustin, who did like all the Steel Panther stuff.
Oh,
The
nice.
Last Annihilator. He's done like Stone Sour, Meatloaf, all kinds of that stuff. Oh, he's awesome engineer. And then a lot of stuff was done by this guy David Irish, who's like a live sound engineer in LA. Does a lot of punk stuff. But yeah, it's so easy to get stuck into like, okay, well, I want to get this like so perfect, and like, and then you start like second guessing things, and just going back and forth between mixes. That album was mixed by like so many different engineers from all over the world, and it's like, holy crap, 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anything taking that long.
Well, maybe Guns N' Roses.
Oh yeah, Guns N' Roses for sure. Yeah, I remember that.
So when you recorded with different bands and stuff like that, did you ever have a lot of big influences from producers? Or was it the studio that you guys went to? Do you have any like...
Well, for me, like, I'll just take like influences from other musicians. Working with different people can definitely change how, things come out, right? Like, people give off energy just like different places will give off energy. Like, if you're in a cool studio, you'll feel comfortable and you'll be able to nail it. Or if you're like, with whoever's engineering it is awesome. But also, you can also be in a situation where you can feel kind of like under the gun or intimidated. And that can also deliver awesome results.
Kind of like the pressure's on, like that's that next level.
Exactly.
You're in front of a live audience in a way of a really elite, like you're super like, oh, I got to make sure I get this right. I don't want to look dumb in front of these talented, awesome people and waste all their time and,
Totally.
Exactly. It's like, so last year, what had happened in 2019, well, I was on tour with Michael Graves. Nim Vind was just like sitting at home waiting while his band was on tour. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? He made a record, and it's like all programmed drums, no bass, it's all synthesizers on it. And then when COVID hit, we were like, okay, well, here's an opportunity where we can sit down and actually revisit this. So we were working with Graham Tucson, who used to play guitar in a Econoline Crush.
Oh,
Nice.
awesome.
Classic for Vancouver.
Yeah, and he also plays guitar in the Spitfires. He's a live sound engineer. He does stuff with Gore, Dallas Smith, Tim Hicks, like lots of country guys. And he actually surprised Nim Vind and I with like a surprise session at the Armory. We thought we were gonna go to like a meeting about maybe redoing some songs, and it turns out, oh no, actually, we're like the drums have been recorded by Gabe Mantle from Gob, and by the way, Howie, you're up right now. Start playing.
That's funny.
And it's like, here's the thing. It's like I hadn't finished writing my parts yet for those songs.
Oh wow! So you had to just finish them.
I had to like do them right on the spot. Bam.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Did it go well? You felt like it captured a good energy?
Yeah, I captured a great energy, and the bass lines are awesome.
Perfect.
So sometimes that works great.
So you work well under stress.
Yeah, I guess sometimes.
That's good. Sometimes. Sometimes works all of the time. Yeah. And the Armory is super nice So that's just nice being in there.
Beautiful, beautiful room, and great sounds. That board is incredible. And their house engineer, Spencer, is now mixing the entire Nim Vind record.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, he's an awesome dude, and the sounds he's getting are just choice.
Yeah. 'Cause
How many songs you guys doing on that one?
I don't know, because it keeps changing.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, so like, yeah, it's one of those things, right? Because we haven't really set deadlines because the album was already done, right? And then
we'll know in 3 years.
yeah, exactly, right? So now there's like some songs we did for like an EP at the beginning of the pandemic that we're redoing for that. Nim has written some new songs that are gonna get added on. So like at the end, this might be like a double album. It's like
That's awesome.
There's a lot of tunes being added to it, and yeah, we'll see what makes the cut.
Are you guys looking at starting to try to think about playing a live thing now that we've got some news here that in a few months it could actually be a reality to play another live show? Or are you guys just going to kind of wait a bit and see how it...
No, we're fired up and ready to go. Oh boy. So like I said earlier, like our demographics basically Europe, right? And unfortunately Europe right now is not doing so hot.
Yeah.
I think like Germany is like at like 12% vaccinated with the first dose. So yeah, it's like really,
Gotta wait a bit.
really low. So
Wow.
we have some stuff planned for next year. But we definitely want to get out there in the meantime and fill some stuff out. So we're hoping we can do some stuff in Canada, which we never ever really hit. I think the last time we played shows in Canada was maybe like 2014, 2015. We did a tour across Canada with Gary Newman.
Oh, that's
Played
cool. He's got an awesome sound, really dark.
Yeah.
Dark synthy kind of like, I like his stuff.
Yeah, it was super rad. I had actually bought tickets to go see him playing at the Rickshaw here in Vancouver.
Rickshaw, I was going to say. Did you guys play there too?
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, I got tour tickets because me and my buddy were big fans and we were gonna go, and then found out like a week before the tour started. Oh, we're on the bill. We're going across Canada with them. It's like, all right,
Oh,
sweet.
sounds
I'll see the
good.
show every night then.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that must have been fun.
Oh, it totally was. Yeah, it was a absolute blast. Those guys are all super rad dudes.
So, growing up, is this what you kind of always wanted to do? Is this what your idea of success was? Touring around with bands or recording on their albums?
Oh yeah. The earliest thing I can remember, I was probably like 5 years old or something like that. I was watching a Paul McCartney show on TV with my dad and like asking him like, what is that? What is he doing? And then, after that, I would turn our backyard into like a stage. Like the playground would be a drum set, and like the picnic bench was a piano, and like my toy rake was my guitar, right? And it's what I always wanted to do. I never really cared about being like famous or like, being rich. I just wanted to make a living doing music. And I've been lucky enough to do like a couple times in my life, but mostly it's a hard struggle. I'd say if anyone wants to be a musician, just if you can, be a weekend warrior. It's a lot of work.
What do you mean by that?
Like you got to have your day job, right? Your Monday to Friday.
If you can handle music just being a hobby and get all the satisfaction from that, you're way better off, because there is a ton of rejection, a ton of hardship. I mean, I've spent so much time like sleeping on people's floors, crashing in punk houses, it can be tough,
Totally. Yeah, because I guess there's all kinds of musicians,
Oh yeah, there's tons out there, right? There's millions of them. And, becoming a successful musician is kind of like winning the lottery. I mean, you reach a certain point and like everyone's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems to all boil down to is like how hard you're willing to work. If you get lucky, you're right place, right time, and then how hard you're willing to work.
Exactly.
And then you have to work even harder.
Yeah.
And then harder, yeah. And it's like what you're willing to sacrifice, Like I never went to college or university because I was worried that like if I took time off to go to school, I wouldn't be available for a tour. if
Yeah.
one came up. Because like my old guitar player used to say, the best ability is availability, and it's true. When the call comes, you have to be ready to
You
go.
have to be. Yeah. Yeah, you miss out on some stuff for sure when you don't take that hop
Yeah.
or leap, if you will. Yeah, and it's scary too. Like that's even too when you're trying to find opportunities, when you're trying to reach out and, you know, say there's somebody you want to link up with or collaborate with or learn from. It's hard to even ask sometimes, right? But that's, you know, it's worth it. It could open a door and get you into some project and teach you something new.
Definitely, as long as you approach it the right way.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I've always been kind of worried about is like approaching someone and have them feel like I'm using them.
Oh, totally.
But this pandemic and having like 2 years off has kind of like taught me that like, you should just go for it, you know?
Totally.
So
Reach out to those people. I mean, what's the worst thing is they do say is no, and you're like, okay, or maybe they say not right now, but you know what? That sounds cool. Maybe down the line we could find a collab together and figure something out. Once live stuff opens back up, or, you know, you can have a remote jam together and you don't have to do recording, you don't have to sign contracts or anything, but if you gel with the guy, why not try something new, play some new styles? And
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's how it all works. Like it's kind of crazy how you start doing one thing and it might open up a door to something else, and then you'll learn a skill from that kind of helps you figure something else out, you know? Like even for us starts off with Pineapple Sound, right? Like recording studio, and then we start the Steinwave, which is the piano that we have in the studio that can play itself with MIDI from anyone in the world, right? So then it kind of branches into that, and then that starts making opportunities to meet other people and kind of bringing them into the fold, and then start the podcast, which is a whole another ball game, and then that just kind of has a whole another access to another different kind of section of life or music or any kind of, like with this, any kind of job, right? But then that gets you just different opportunities, right? You'll meet somebody or collab, like we get to do soon we'll show the DI shootout, and with the last guest, Smart Game Piano, getting to work with her doing that piano video, right? Which is awesome.
Oh yeah, it's totally cool, you know, watching how, yeah, you know, one door will lead to another. So for me, like in my music career, basically everything has like basically come from me answering that one Craigslist ad.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like everything I got is like, it was just like, it just kind of like continued on from that. Like I met someone from that gig that, you know, led to another gig where I met someone else, and it just that's how it all progressed.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of how we met you, but it was TJ on a Craigslist ad.
Yeah.
that's exactly how we hired TJ.
Yeah.
So your family taught you guys, answer those Craigslist ads.
Oh yeah, you got to do it. I ended up as the bass player for Green Jello through a Craigslist ad.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The little pig, let me in.
That's right.
Not by the hair of my chin.
Yeah, it was wild. I saw an ad on Craigslist that said, looking for 2 guitar players to be in Green Jello. And I was like, no way. Someone has somehow swindled themselves like an opening slot for Green Jello and is trying to put a band together. And I was like, yeah, I'll go for this. This sounds awesome. And then it turned out, no, it was the real band and they needed a bass player too. So I got the gig, and I've done 4 or 5 tours with Jello over the years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. TJ was actually the guitar player for one of those tours.
That's
No way.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. That must have been fun. How much did you play Little Pigs?
Oh,
Every show? Dun, dun, dun,
Okay.
dun, 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 dun.
those shows are the most ridiculous things I have ever been a part of.
Really?
We would play for like 3 hours a night, and we would play maybe 6 songs.
Ooh. To go on, I need a couple more details here.
So, you know, we'd play some songs, and then Bill, the singer, he would like get some antics to go on. He'd get the crowd to do something. Of course, everyone has these big puppets, you know, these big foam puppet heads they wear, and they do all kinds of weird stuff. Then you go back and you play, you know, a bit of a song you already played. then something else happens. Then okay, we're gonna play a bit of this other song, and it just kind of went on and on like that.
Wow.
There was no coherence to it, no set list. It was just absolutely bizarre.
That's madness.
Wow.
That's madness.
And the fans liked it.
The fans loved it. I once watched this girl. She drank a beer that was poured down. Bill, who was at the time maybe 52, poured down his shorts because he performs in his underwear and combat boots and nothing else.
No way.
It poured down his shorts off his balls, and she was drinking it off his balls.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, people do some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
That whole section is just gonna be beep. Censored
the-
thing on his face. Beep,
Off of his cantaloupe.
yeah. Slide in the appropriate words. 3
Genitals.
hours though. That's a long gig. Were there openers or was it just you guys? Just here we go. This is us.
On one tour, I did book Nim Vind as the opener.
So you did your
awesome.
double duty.
Yeah.
Double dip.
I do a lot of double duty. It's a very common thing for punk rock, and especially for, if you got to go over to Europe. So sometimes I'll play for this other guy who lives in Connecticut named Argyle Goolsby, and so like Nim Vind will become his band, and we'll tour together around. So it's, you just save money on flights, on hotel rooms, all that
Smart.
stuff. Yeah,
You're not booking for like 72 people. It's like, oh, just the 6 of us. Like,
exactly. And when you're a little band, that kind of stuff really matters. So.
Totally. Yeah. So now in the future, the plan is to obviously keep remote recording until people are allowed to do shows and get together and start touring, but then basically get up Nim Vind out there and playing shows again. Is the main plan?
Absolutely. I mean, I spent the better part of 2019 on tour, and it was awesome. I loved it, and I want to do that again. But I want to do it with Nim Vind, which is the music I like the most. I've been a fan of that band from way before I joined.
that's got to be a super cool experience, right? Little like.
Totally. That must have been
Yeah.
cool playing with the Misfits, or part of the Misfits anyways, playing some of their songs.
Yeah, it was super cool because, like, when I had joined, it was right around the time that the original Misfits had got together or reunited, and they were playing Riot Fest and doing all the arena shows. So it kind of it brought resurgence to the Michael Graves era. So when we were going around, and it was around, I think, the 20th anniversary of one of the records. So we were just playing his 2 records front to back, and people were loving it.
That's awesome.
It was killer, yeah. And it was like, these are songs that I used to listen to as a kid. I had like their poster up on my wall, and I'm playing these songs, like, it's killer. And we're playing big shows. I played Wacken in Germany. We played right after Slayer.
No
Whoa.
way.
Yeah, it was insane.
And that's one thing I love about the punk rock, like harder rock music scene is like, from the outside looking in, you're like looking at a mosh pit and you're looking at how like crazy violent it may look, but it's actually like the most super inclusive, like positive, everyone really does support each other sort of scene. It's like we all just want to party. We want to have a really, really good
For the
time.
most part, I guess.
Absolutely. And especially like the subgenre that I'm mostly involved with, like horror punk, it's like the nerdy version of punk
Oh,
rock,
yeah?
right? So it's all like the horror fans. So you'll have people making like horror magazines, doing horror movies, tons of artwork, and then of course all the bands, and everyone's all supportive and they all work together. And
That's
it's
awesome.
It's super rad. And it's a small community, but it's a global community. So it means, well, I get to travel around and play with all these people. So so I'm not just playing around in like one city. I'm playing everywhere, and it rules.
That's awesome. If there was a band that you could play with other than Nim Vind, like a future band you'd hope to get to do a tour with, who would that be?
Like in the band,
Like,
or like
yeah,
opening?
you'd be in it, yeah.
I always thought it would be really cool to be a part of 9 Inch Nails, because I just love how Trent works and how
Yeah.
all the instruments kind of like affect each other. That would be so rad.
Yeah,
Right.
that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
The super tight blur between the bass and the synths is just like, it gels so well. You're not quite sure what's a guitar and what's not at times.
oh,
When you're
yeah.
just watching, you're like, wait a minute, what? Like, if you're trying to dissect their live show, it's really difficult. You're like, we're
Yeah.
super, super tight, super, super cool.
and they always have like the most top-notch players. Like, Elan Rubin is an awesome drummer. I mean, they used to have Pino Palladino on bass. Pino Palladino played with The Who.
Oh, no way.
He's playing with The Who, and he's playing with John Mayer, and now well, not anymore, but he was in Nine Inch Nails. They also had Justin Meldal Johnson, who was he's a pretty big name producer, but he was also the bass player for Beck for a long time, and Tori Amos.
That's quite the varied background,
Yeah.
It's cool when you see how many people have all played together and different artists. Like when you're seeing a live performance, you're like, wait a sec. It's like I think the drummer for Foo Fighters, Taylor, I forget his last name, he was playing for Alanis Morissette. I saw that for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he was playing for Alanis Morissette.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
What a guy.
Thank you. Speaking of like Foo Fighters, I went and saw them, and like I was never really a big fan. They're just not my style, but I got offered a ticket, and
you wouldn't say no at that point.
Yeah.
Why would you say no?
So I went, and it was actually a really good show. They did a ton of covers. They did a bunch of Queen songs, a bunch of Van Halen songs. It ruled. But my favorite part was watching Pat Smear, because that guy, the whole time he's up there, he's just smiling and just loving it. He's just like, this is the greatest thing ever. And it's like, I feel you, man. That's so rad. He truly, loved what he was doing and like appreciated what was happening. And I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, because there's something special about playing live.
Oh, it's the best thing in the world.
Even like, you feel nervous beforehand, and then you just kind of get up, and it's like you feel, meant to be up there. And it's like, that's your job, and it just feels natural. So just kind of they go away. Oh
yeah, all your nerves go. I can be so nervous before a show. I'm a notorious nervous puker. So my band would be like, they could time how long it was before we were gonna go play by me puking. It's like,
I 5 minutes to go.
Exactly, right? Yep. They would say that.
Time to go on. Howie's having a puke.
It was actually 15 minutes, but
All right, good guesstimate.
But yeah, and then like as soon as you hit the stage, that's all gone, and it's like you become a different person. It's just like you become some monster up there, just like going at it. And you just feel.
Especially you. You're a great performer.
Thank you. Yeah, that was kind of it was two things. So when I was with Britt Black, we had some people coming in and like kind of coach us and teach us how to act on stage. Stuff like, okay, well, if you're playing a bigger venue, you need to make bigger gestures, or like the people in the
theater
back
style, the guys in the back row, your actions have to be, like they got to see you make your movements,
Exactly. And it's like, you don't move back and forth because no one will see that. Move side to side.
I totally get it.
What do you mean, Tyler?
No, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I got a lot of that, and then when I joined Nim Vind, we were playing these pretty big shows, and Nim, he loves to stand center stage and just be like right in the middle of it. But we're a three-piece.
So where do you go when the drummer's right behind him?
Exactly, right? So I'd be on one side, and then there's like a whole other side of the stage that's empty. And it's like, well, what do I do? Well, I better be on both sides at the same time. And so then I just started barreling around. And people really appreciated it. They loved the show. I mean, I hurt myself a lot, but...
a lot of blood on the guitars.
Oh, yeah.
You were unpacking today, literally, and then you look down and you're like, and my hands are bleeding. I had strings in my backpack. And we're just like, here's a paper towel.
Oh, that happens all the time. Yeah. So, yeah, of course, on stage, yes, I'll start bleeding like crazy. Fans will ask me, oh, are you going to bleed for us tonight? But it'll happen off stage.
That's hilarious.
One time we just flew into Germany to start a tour, and we were staying with the lead singer of another another horror punk band called the Crimson Ghosts. And he was so nice. He made this like super nice, fancy German breakfast for us. Like he went all out, freshly made baked bread, all that stuff. So the first thing I do is I try to slice off a little bit of the bread. I end up cutting myself so bad bleeding all over the breakfast. The whole thing was just covered. And this, like I've just barely met this guy. Like picked us up from the airport. We went to his place, went to sleep, wake up, and I'm now bleeding all over his fancy apartment. Yeah. Great. So
That's pretty metal.
That is metal. That's funny.
yeah.
What is that, Gore? You got to join Gore.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Have you guys ever seen Gore?
I've just seen it in videos,
Oh man.
not in real life. Have you?
Oh yeah, and they are something. I don't know how they can play that well while wearing those gigantic
suits.
costumes. So yeah, and then just like,
Do you think they are playing?
oh, they totally are.
Wow.
But like everything is like all their pedal boards are covered in like garbage bags. The whole venue's covered in garbage bags. There is so much blood.
No
E-
way.
Everybody gets covered in blood. There's no escape.
No way.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
That
I highly
hearing
recommend
that
seeing
now, I'm just thinking like, how did we ever do that? That's amazing and also terrifying.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever go to a Gore concert.
You should.
Yeah?
They are hilarious. It's more than just the songs. It is a full blown show.
I think that's moving forward. What people are gonna be interested in is just seeing everyone's been cooped up for so long. Show me something new. Show me something different. Show me the music you've been working on, and then the showmanship and the performance values are just going to be naturally amped up because we haven't seen anybody in so long. You can come on and do almost anything, and I think a crowd will be receptive to it these days. Like,
Yeah.
we're dying to be able to watch a live show with something with like emotion, drama,
Theatrics.
theatrics
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to see something that's like that was memorable, one of a kind. I'll never see that again.
Speaking about emotion and theatrics, should we show the bass pedal shootout?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's do it in 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So first up, we got the Radial JDI, which I consider to be like the gold standard of bass DIs. I use them a lot, whether I'm playing or sometimes when I'm mixing sound. They're just, awesome passive box. We have a few here. We got 3 here that we're going to try out and see how consistent they are from DI to DI. So without further ado, here we go. All right, JDI number 2. All right, JDI number 3. Now this one is the Radial J48. This is a powered DI versus the JDI, which is passive. So this one you got to send 48 volts to it. It's a lot more gain right off the bat. Yeah, exactly. Let's hear how it sounds. All right. I like that one. All right. So next up we have what is widely considered to be like the standard for bass DIs. It's the Countryman Type 85. It's also a powered DI, and you can put like a 9 volt in it, or you can send 48 volt down the line. Let's hear how it sounds. All right. And this is the big mama, the Avalon U5. This particular DI / preamp is used by like Matt Freeman from Rancid. Famously, Geddy Lee from Rush uses just this and a couple dryers as his rig live. There is a lot of options. So let's go through them. So right now, this is just... we have like a dB boost around, it's set at 7, so there's kind of like the same volume as all the other DIs going through. No tone selection, so no EQ curve. It should be everything's just flat. Let's see what happens. Sounds pretty good. So overall, I'd have to say that I'm a big fan of the Avalon. It's just got so many tonal options, and just like if you want that crystal clear, buttery tone, you can get it from that. And then, you can even you can really hear, how inconsistent of a player I am. Next up, I would definitely go with the J48. That is a super bitchin' full-bodied DI, and it's definitely the one that I'm gonna add to my arsenal. But really, you can't go wrong with any of these things. They are all like industry standard, and they rule. I use them on stage when I tour all over the world. When I work with other artists who are, playing arenas, this is the shit that's on the stage. So, awesome. I definitely loved the Avalon U5. That thing is awesome, and it's now going to be a part of my live rig as well.
So that's your favorite.
That is my favorite.
The most versatile of the bunch.
Oh, totally. And then the follow-up one is definitely the Radial J48. That thing just had like so much body to it. It was like so crisp. It was awesome. And yeah, it actually kind of surprised me because the one I've used the most is the Radial JDI, and I thought that this is going to be the winner because it's Old Faithful to me, but no.
Does your bass have active pickups or
No? It's all passive. I used to play active basses, but because I am so violent on stage and also very sweaty.
That's a great combo. Have you seen that violent, sweaty guy play?
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, I like the violent, sweaty one.
Yeah, so like I tend to break things and I'm pretty aggressive, so I switched to a more simpler setup. Actually, funny thing is like the other night I had a friend who brought me a bass to check out, his prized possession bass. And the first thing I do is smash it into the ceiling.
I saw your post.
I saw you talk about that.
I saw that post.
Are you still friends?
I don't know. He left right after.
Shit.
Oh.
I bent his tuning peg, and I was like, "Oh, I'll bend it back." And he's like, "No, I don't want you to do that." And I was
Don't
like,
touch anything.
And I was like, "I'll get you a replacement one." He's like, "No, it's got to be all original. I gotta go."
Oh, no. What kind was it?
That doesn't sound promising.
It was a P bass like mine, but it's like a P bass special, so it's got a jazz bass pickup in it.
5-string, 4-string?
4-string. It was a nice one. Pretty nice one. I feel pretty bad.
That happens. I'm sure he'll forgive you.
He should know. He should know better. Like,
What were you doing when you bent the tuning peg on the ceiling? Just taking it off?
yeah, I was just taking it off and I put it up. And, it's not the first time I've put a bass to the ceiling.
Hurting other people's gear hurts.
I hate doing that. Yeah.
I've done that a couple times. I was lucky enough to buy the gear later, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I borrowed a bunch of preamps off of Dave, and oh shit.
Uh-oh.
I'm kidding.
What?
He doesn't know this yet.
Yeah, I definitely prefer to break my own gear.
Yeah, totally.
Which I do a lot. My main bass, which I didn't bring with me this time, I've smashed it through stages, through ceilings, through people, through drum sets. It's hardly original. It's been rewired a few times, and like everything on it's had to be replaced because it's just I'm really, really rough with it. I'm a rough guy on stage, and it's like, the strap buttons won't stay on, so I have like these eye screws that are like this long,
cool.
holding
Yeah,
the
I
strap
saw that.
in. Yeah.
Do you flip it around, like spin it around you?
No, because I play it really low. So if I did that, it would just go back into the stage. But I got to play it low because when you're playing punk rock, to like get really fast with your wrist with a pick, it's like way easier if your arm's fully extended.
Yeah, more relaxed.
Yeah.
You can't have it tense and up because that's not going to work for
Exactly,
that
right?
movement
You
over
can't,
time.
You can't be up here. So it's like the trade-off, right? So like, why a lot of like technical players will play with their instrument higher is because then your left hand can go shreddy. But for punk rock, it's more, your right
More of
hand.
a rhythm playing.
Exactly. So if you're ever wondering why those punk players have their instruments so low, it's not because, they're trying to look cool. It's a function thing.
It could be two things.
I guess.
Yeah, that looks cool.
Until you hit middle age and then your beer gut is hanging over your instrument.
Yeah, I like having the guitar a little higher. Nope, it's not hiding anything. It's comfort. And I'm shredding the guitar. Yeah. So as far as in all your bands that you've worked with, what's like your favorite trait, like with playing with other musicians? Like what are your favorites and what is your least favorite?
Favorite traits?
Yeah.
Like, is someone like like who do you gel with? Do you gel with the
Yeah.
drummer right away, or are you more of a like?
Do you like when they challenge you? Do you like when people are just kind of easygoing, laid back?
Well, I definitely always zero in on the drummer right away. I think that's like a total rhythm section thing. It's just like if you're not tight with the drummer and you're not a good rhythm section, you're screwed. You know? You're basically a 4-string guitar player then. You know, you really got to be that glue. But I've always strived to play with people who are better than me. I always want to be the worst person in the room when it comes to playing music.
That's fair because there's nowhere to
like
go
that
but up.
too.
Because they'll
Yeah.
lift you up with them. Like you just get better by being around.
Oh yeah,
people.
yeah. They challenge you musically, you know, and like you really got to bring it, right? Because these people,
They're tight.
they
They're
expect-
smart. They're clever. They can improv. They can play their parts properly.
Yeah,
It's good having a couple of sharks in the tank, right? Keep you moving.
absolutely. And that's So I always strive for that. Yeah.
So Howie's for hire. He's going to be the worst guy on your recording, but he's going to do a great job at it.
If you don't believe me, just check out that DI shootout and check out that wonderful playing I did.
You'll like it. You're gonna like the way you sound.
Convenient segue. One thing we like to talk about at Pineapple Sound, dreams. Do you have any cool are you like a lucid dreamer, like on the road? Would you have like a lot of stuff going on you're trying to work through? Do you remember your dreams?
Sometimes I remember my dreams. I don't really have them on the road because usually by the time I fall asleep, I'm exhausted, and then
You're done.
I'm only waking up a couple hours later. I often have like dreams where you return to like the same place. Do you guys
Yep.
ever have
Yeah.
that? Where it's like, oh, I'll go to like the town that I grew up in,
The
or
basement of the house you grew up in.
yeah. I've had some where like there's like a fantasy world of like, I don't know, like a train bridge or something. It's not a real place, but I've had lots of dreams where I go to the same train bridge, and maybe I'm on a train, or maybe I'm on the train tracks. Hopefully there's not a train chasing me down the train tracks. Yeah, stuff like that. Or like I'll be on a boat and it's like the same boat in multiple dreams. Yeah. I do think that there's meaning to dreams, and I used to spend a lot of time interpreting them when I was younger. I had a book that would help me do that. I've since stopped doing that, and I probably should pick it up again.
Did it help you back then, you felt?
I don't think it helped me, but it was really interesting, and it was really cool to do, you know? Be like, oh, well, this could mean this, you know? And that's
like teeth falling out. It's like stress or something like that. Or,
yeah. And it's like, it's what I remember is like, it's not really about like the big things that happen in dreams. It's
Some of
about-
the little details.
It's all the little details. That's the stuff.
I had
Yeah.
like the best, worst, weird one the other day.
Yeah,
Where
when you were pregnant or whatever, you woke up.
yes, exactly, Tyler. Thanks for sharing. I shared that with you in confidence. Said, whatever you do, do not bring this up on the podcast on Monday. And what do? You bring it up on the podcast
Remember
on
that
Monday.
movie, Junior?
Leave it to Tyler.
Leave it to Tyler. So I was in this like Save On Foods. I don't know if you guys ever been up to like Uptown New West. There's this Save On Foods that it reminds me of. It's like underneath the mall. So it's like underneath a parking garage, but it's, it's a big window, and I'm sitting, and this is in like a weird post-COVID world where everyone's like too close together. I'm like shoulder to shoulder with people on this ledge, and everyone's walking around the store, and no one has the masks on, and their eyes are really, really big, and their mouths are open, and everyone's just kind of like going, and they're like seeing each other going, and it started getting like really, really loud. And then everyone started bursting out laughing, like in a creepy laugh too. And it stuck with me for so long. Like I can still like, if I think about it, I'm like, I can remember so many details to this bizarre dream of being in this grocery store and thinking like,
You know, I live around there, and people are actually just like that.
yeah, I used to live in New West too. So like, you know exactly that like 6th and 6th, the really old people are everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a weird part of New West.
Totally. Yeah.
And I had the weirdest, super, super lucid dream of this like going to Save On.
I'm sure you just weren't going to get your groceries and you weren't actually dreaming.
It could have happened. It really could have. I just remember like that's what New West is like sometimes.
Yeah, you can definitely be late night pretty creepy. I was doing installs at that Union Jack, and I remember like there's a guy out front just like hovering by the window looking into it, and it looked kind of like a zombie, and I was like, don't come at me. And just think just thinking he was gonna come and try to eat my brains or something, but he didn't.
Could be. Speaking of New West, it's pretty sad about all the fires that have been happening there, and
Oh yeah, Heritage Grill and that club just burnt down, didn't they?
yeah, so the Heritage, like, that was my favorite
No
bar
way.
in all of the Lower Mainland because, well, first of all, they were open really late. Their owner was super cool. They had good food, and they had live music every night. But it wasn't like your standard bands or whatever, right? You'd have like some weird jazz band or an all ukulele band, or then you'd have like, I don't know, a drag show. It was like always like really weird eclectic things, and it was so cool.
Very New West.
Yeah, very, very New West. And so I loved going there and checking out the weird and the strange. And now it's gone. And I was talking to Paul, the owner, about it, and he said that, it's probably going to be a couple of years before they can rebuild. And he doesn't know if he's going to find a new space to put it in. And he's
That's
thinking
tough.
it's like basically it's done. It's not going to be
That
another
sucks.
live music venue in New West anymore. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it feels like we're getting less and less of them.
Well, yeah. Well, how many survived COVID? Not a lot.
Well, we'll see. Really, I have no idea.
Yeah. I know some have definitely closed down. In Victoria, Logan's Pub closed down, and that was like one of, I don't know, like 3 venues in Victoria. So like
Wow.
to lose one is like, that's a massive loss.
Well, they've been going out of business before COVID in Vancouver, like one after the other. It seemed like there's a handful left. There used to be, like when we were growing up, like 20, 30 places you could play, and now it's down to like 5.
Yeah.
If there's even 5. For like your average rock band, rock show that you're not going to be able to play at the Commodore or venue, like the big ones on Granville Street, but all those little ones there. It's hopefully now though, coming back, whoever is throwing live shows is going to be able to just like give
Yeah.
us what we've been missing.
I foresee a lot of like underground club shows in like not traditional venues, but like just spaces rented out for whatever for the night.
Totally. Yeah, we've definitely got some plans coming. I don't know if we told you about the Coop, the place nearby.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, it's a crazy, awesome venue. It's like wicked soundstage, tons of space, like up to 175 or so people. Bar, lots of area for parking, like safe, nice and spaced out. And like as soon as we're good to go, we're gonna put on something there for sure.
Nice.
Something's coming.
The storm's coming.
If you build it, they will come.
The Coop.
The Coop. The Coop. Awesome. Sweet. Well, yeah, I think I'll transition. Or-
One more question before because we typically do this. What's your favorite local business restaurant that you like to go to lately? Give a shout out to one of those because they need some help too right now.
Yeah, like what's your favorite local neighborhood restaurant? Like Mom and Pa?
My absolute favorite is in Mount Pleasant. It's a vegetarian burrito place called Budgie's Burritos.
Oh yeah.
It's been my favorite ever since moving to Vancouver like 16 years ago. They make the best burritos. It's awesome. I love it. It's like Main and Broadway area.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it's just the best food. Anytime I'm in that area, I have to eat there. Even if I'm not even hungry. Even
You
if I
gotta go.
just ate, I'm getting a burrito.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were speaking of New West earlier, and I'll throw a shout out to Angelina's in New West. That breakfast place is like Dutch pannenkoek style. They used to have a tiny little restaurant, and now they're just right part of the quay. Huge place, amazing place to go get some breakfast. And then there's also that long tail Thai street food place just around the corner, also in the main part of the quay. If you want your like pad Thai or pad siu served in like a little cardboard little box thing, and just like street food style. Super, super delicious. New West is full of tons of good food.
Yeah. You know what else is good in New West? There's this Lebanese place called Wild Time.
Yes.
Oh, man. It's just the best. It's so awesome.
It's a wild time.
It is a wild time.
Is that why they named it that? Or is it Did they actually get wild?
I don't know
Time.
if they actually get time that is wild.
I wonder.
Maybe they grow it in the back,
You
There's
get
a
it from
in
Cisco.
the back alley.
Store.
There was a cafe in Vancouver called The Time to Indulge, and they spelled it time like THYME. THYME. Yeah, no. One of my favorites would be Anton's Pasta.
Oh man!
Have you ever gotten the pen? When you eat the whole bowl?
I've gone there like once or twice, and yeah, I always finish my plate. Like those servings are massive.
It's nuts.
Massive.
So good though. It's like I remember the first time going waiting outside in the lineup, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's like this better be good.
better
Waiting
be-
outside
Yeah.
in a lineup. What the hell is this? Don't they take reservations? Oh,
Yeah.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. You just show up and you gorge. So good though. I got the pen.
So there's I just found a place called Miltimatis. I'm probably butchering that, but they're actually only open for like lunchtime hours, and they're in Port Kells, and their main focus is catering. So they deliver burritos to job sites and stuff like that, and they're the best burrito Mexican food I have ever had anywhere. And
That's a
don't
burrito
really-
challenge.
That's a
He
burrito challenge.
I
man.
don't
challenged Howie's burrito story.
really go eat anywhere unless it's like tacos.
We're gonna have to do a burrito head to head.
That'll be a segment.
I think
It's another segment next to the
me and
DI
you gotta
segment.
go out and do
Yeah.
taco challenge all day.
You got to bring
We
him
could
into the
film
studio.
it.
We'll eat him at his table.
Yeah, we'll bring we'll get multiple tacos, multiple burritos from everywhere, and we'll chow them down, and then to chase them off, Carolina Reapers.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect. Sounds like a great next day.
We'll do
Yeah.
we'll do it at the
I'll do it though, for sure.
we'll do that the next time we have a jam night here at the studio,
Oh, perfect.
which is going to be soon.
Oh, I can't wait.
Times are changing.
Things are
coming back.
back.
What are we to do? We have a big mask reveal. You know, you guys want to
Hey,
know
this
what we
is
look
what
like?
everybody's face looks like.
Are you ready to have your dreams ruined? Here's the bottom half of my face. Doo, doo, doo.
I haven't flossed in 3 months.
Yeah. You thought I looked like. Insert what you thought I looked like, but I don't. Actually, no. Everyone sees your Facebook profile. What am I thinking? Anyways,
Thanks for tuning in.
That's our show for this evening. That was great.
but seriously, thanks for coming on, man. It's
Thanks.
great having you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'll come back anytime.
Oh.
Like I said, this is one of my favorite podcasts, and
Thanks, man.
I am a rabid listener.
I appreciate it.
Now you get to hear the sound of your own voice and
Yeah.
regret it just a little bit. Be like, I sound like that? Oh, man.
And I'll be like, oh no, I told that story.
Oh, shit. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it. And as soon as we can have jam night, you're going to be the first call.
Bitchin'.
Can't wait. And we'll do this again soon.
Cue the music.